Ladies and gentlemen, Amy Corville.
Picture this. You're hungry. You search the pantry, refrigerator, look up places nearby that may be open, but nothing is appetizing. You stare at that random slice of cheese and realize this is a disaster. Now, cheese is great, but you could have avoided this hunger disaster by planning ahead. Likewise, having an appetite for preparedness can avoid or minimize the impact of disasters to your facilities, business, and hungry customers. How do you do this? By taking preparedness actions to lessen your restaurant's risk. First, be aware the potential for disaster is real. It's not a matter of if, but when a disaster will impact your restaurants and your community. The Atlas of Disaster is a report of past climate-related hazards. It found 90% of counties experienced a federal climate disaster in 1 decade, some having as many as 12 disasters during that time. In 2021, the U.S. experienced 20 separate billion-dollar climate disasters, and it's only going to grow. Be aware of your disaster risk and potential impacts to your facilities, your supply chain, and your staff and livelihood, because this industry is an essential component of a community's economy and culture. You employ hundreds. You serve residents and visitors. You're not only critical to a community's identity, but you can play a significant role in supporting communities during emergencies. The importance of a good meal in the middle of a disaster to nourish your mind and fuel your recovery cannot be taken for granted. However, this industry remains particularly vulnerable to disaster-caused disruptions. This leaves us out of options for the comfort of your good food, and it could leave you on the sidelines, perhaps not even sure how or where to start. A pilot study conducted to better understand these vulnerabilities within the industry used New York City as an initial testing ground due to its dense population, diverse range of restaurants, and participants' economic disparity. Now, the scope of this initial survey included fast casual establishments, fine dining venues, and food trucks across the metro area. It demonstrated that many restaurants that closed for disasters, they remain closed for over a month. What happens when you're closed for a month, much less a week? Food spoilage, repair costs, no revenue. Additionally, it was found that employees weren't able to be paid during this time, so potential permanent loss of staff. Why did they have to stay closed for so long? What were their barriers to reopen? Lack of power, water, supplies, and staff. These significant gaps are what need to be closed, not your restaurants. No, your restaurants need to stay open. Lessen the impact, minimize your closing time, and allow you to fire up those burners, open your doors, generate revenue, and your customers enjoy the results of you being prepared. The majority of restaurants surveyed weren't that interested in talking about preparedness. Most don't have an emergency plan. They, like us, are aware that disasters can happen. When you are aware, plan. Although a plan does not automatically make you prepared, it indicates a basic level of preparedness. But despite the awareness of disasters, preparedness isn't on the back burner. It doesn't even make it to the grocery list. Change that. Put actions on your list and get prepared. Start benchmarking your level of preparedness. Identify your appetite for committing to action. Is it just a little snack? You have a plan for choking hazard, fire emergency, evacuation. Your team is trained. Solid snack, a little warm bowl of nuts. But what about a full meal? You're risk aware. You have a plan to respond. You know the first steps to take for recovery. You collaborated with your supply chain, and your team's annually trained. That's better. You won't be left hungry in a few hours. You minimize potential loss in revenue. You're not on the sidelines. But what about a buffet? A large menu of actions perfect for each season, committed, sustainable preparedness. That's the dream. Planned and budgeted actions so no solution sits empty and you keep generating revenue. Don't settle for nuts, go for the buffet. Start increasing your preparedness by taking these very achievable actions immediately. Today, identify your risks. Make a quick list of potential disasters, rank how likely they are to impact you, then identify your gaps and resources to mitigate or eliminate those impacts. Dig in this month. Take actions to make your restaurant and team more resilient. Engage your supply chain. Collaborate to reduce risk. What are their vulnerabilities? How is it going to impact you? Understand your insurance coverage and claim process. Talk to your insurance company. Do they have a true understanding of your risks? Are you getting credit for reducing risk? With these things in mind, now develop or update disaster plans to include preparedness measures you have taken and actions you need to take before, during, and after a disaster. In 1 month, you can be more prepared. But a buffet has endless options. Take preparedness up a level. With a recipe box full of actions, your customers don't have to miss their favorite meals. Establish a comprehensive disaster plan with third-party risk analysis, fully resourced solutions with supply chain backups aligned with your business continuity initiatives. Standardize and budget periodic training on your plans. Empower your team from the back of the house to the front of the house to be a part of your comprehensive solutions. Your customers may be hungry, but don't leave your team starving. Include them. And prepare for a potential repair or rebuild. Create comprehensive documentation of equipment, supplies, and current design. I'm talking digital, robust inventory with off-site backups, interactive 3D scans of your facilities, a resiliency audit to identify cost-saving, sustainable solutions to improve operational efficiencies, facility hardening, implement all the great solutions you're learning about this week, and mitigate disaster impacts to stay open. And if the unfortunate happens and you have to close, come back better, stronger, and more resilient because you took time now to commit to sustainable preparedness. By understanding your risk, taking immediate actions, and implementing sustainable preparedness, you can be the beacon of light, feeding your community and disaster responders in the aftermath of a disaster. This industry can be strengthened to thrive amidst increasing disasters. No one has to settle for an appetite for disaster when you can have and easily fill your appetite for preparedness. Let's get prepared. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen,